All right, so I think my hip hop standards might be a little bit too high because people keep telling me like, yo, the standout albums of this year is the Jade album and the Starline album by Chance the Rapper. Obviously the Clips album I do really like. I done an album review on that. Oh, and the Alfredo 2s, but these are not, in my opinion, like standout albums. I think, and I felt that hip hop has been in a quality-wise poor place for a couple of years already. Going as far back as like 2021, 2022 really, I feel hip-hop was just, it was a lot of subpar music. Now I'm not saying the music, the hip-hop has been trash. I'll try not to use exaggerated terms like trash, but a lot of it has been mid. It's been a lot of mid. Not trash, but also not great. It's middle of the road projects, and even for rappers in their own discography, it's like middle of the pack, literally just middle of the pack, not up in the top tier, not in the bottom tier. And 2022, 2023 in specific, I feel were just really subpar years, mid years in hip hop. And I think a lot of YouTubers have come to the realization that the issue is lack of new talent. If you've been watching my channel for years now, you know I've been saying this. I've been saying this for a while. The talent is just not where it needs to be with the newer rappers. And a lot of y'all can't even name a lot of newer rappers. When I ask you about new rappers, believe it or not, there are still people that will say, yo, Kendrick Lamar is, one of the new guys. He's not new. Answer that I also get from a lot of people who think they know hip hop is, oh, Mike and Mavi, these are some new. Yo, I've been listening to Mike for like 8 to 10 years already. At least 8 years I've been listening to Mike. He's not new. We've been listening to Mavi since before COVID. I got album reviews on Mavi from like 5-6 years ago. He's not a new rapper. So I think the lack of new rappers, it's evident even in people's responses who think they know hip hop, right? They're naming these just rappers who have been around already. Mavi is not a new rapper. Kendrick is not a new rapper. So yeah, it's a lack of talent. When we talk new rappers, we talking about guys, I guess, that debuted 2020 and after, guys like Dave Blunts, etc. The issue is the old guard is carrying right now. The old guard, the Kendricks, the Drakes, the Coles, even Young Thug. Young Thug is from the blog era. Like my era when I came to age, which was the blog era. Those guys are still carrying. And I think some YouTubers or social media people in general, some of them are hitting the nail on the head when they say, yo, a lot of the new guys who are of that new guard, they died. Like XXXTentacion, who I think was like the leader of the new school back in 2017. Pop Smoke, who I think had a big chance to be next. He was already next, low-key. I thought Pop Smoke was fire. Juice WRLD, who undoubtedly was one of the leaders along with XXX. So yeah, a lot of those guys passed away. But even them, those are the guys from 2016, right? 2017, that's the SoundCloud era. So I'm even talking about more recent than that. Where is the newer talent? There's just not many. Sure, there are new rappers, but I think it's a quality issue. Like they're not rising to the top like they should. And I think it's a quality issue. I think it's an issue with quality. I don't think they're good enough. Now, when I say this, people will say, oh, it's an age thing. You old, you Asian out of hip hop. This is a cop-out excuse, right? And this is something that we do in hip hop. When we don't agree with what somebody's saying, one of the like ace cards we pull on them is, oh, you're an old head. You can use that excuse if you want to, but it doesn't change the state of hip hop, right? Talent is talent. And the newer rappers, they are not dropping. It's a quality issue. They're not dropping these seminal projects that define their generation, their era. They're not. Another thing people will say is, oh, you need to you need to, as me as a YouTuber, they'll say, oh, you need to report more on the newer guys, like the rage rap, guys like Netspend and Yeet and whoever, like the hell, Sofago, and I don't know if Tisa Korean is a rage rapper, but they'll be like, you need to promote this. This is the new wave. I had this debate with someone, I forget who, but they basically say, yo, hip hop has evolved into rage rap. This is what's next. And you don't get it because you're an, say it with me, old head. Okay. The issue with rage rap is these guys are all making the same song over and over. It's the same stuff over and over. And I think, yeah, there's a place for that in the hip hop subgenres, but pretending like this is like the new wave or something, or that hip hop has evolved and improved so much that now it's at the rage stage and anyone who's not doing the rage is outdated. It's foolish. It's a subgenre of hip hop. That's all it is. And these guys are making the same songs. A lot of them just flat out suck, right? But you do have some guys that have talent in that range, but it's the same stuff over and over, right? So it really is a skill issue. It's a quality issue. Now I think my hip hop standards are too high. I'm a millennial, right? So I grew up, when I was a kid, there was that 90s golden age era rap, right? And my parents both are about the same age as hip hop is. They're like 50 something. So they grew up with hip hop, listening to hip hop. So even though I was super young, I was listening to hip hop. A lot of people could not listen to hip hop growing up. Their parents didn't allow it or whatever the case. That wasn't me. I was young. I was listening to Dub C, Stillmatic. You know what I mean? I was listening to all this stuff, right? So the issue is I have just my beginning stages of hip hop from when I was a toddler. I'm getting all the 90s golden era. Then I'm getting my parents' knowledge, that 80s golden era, EPMD, Slick Rick, Kane, you know what I mean? Run DMC. I'm getting what they listened to growing up when they was, coming of age. Then I'm getting the 90s. Then when I come of age, it's the blog era. Kendrick, Wale, Wiz Khalifa, Pac Div, Dom Kennedy, Nipsey, It's all this, plus the 90s legends is still dropping. Raekwon, Nas, Jay-Z. So I think my standards are just too high. So when I listen to these, when I listen to these people, like on social media, and they're talking about, the best, these are the standout albums, and you talking about the JID album, which is nice, not even one of his best projects. Like, JID fans will tell you it's not even top 2 or 3. But we're going to sit here and pretend like this is like a noteworthy album or something, or the Chance the Rapper album. People are pretending like, yo, this is super slept on. I mean, you can feel like it's slept on, but let's be for real. Are we talking about this album as like an elite album or something? It's not an elite album. I don't know. I truly do feel that my standards are too high. And even when I think about the Soundcloud era, right? Soundcloud era was a great time in hip hop because it was kind of the second wave of the blog era, but just without the blogs, right? It was this time for music discovery. That's kind of what the blog era was all about. It was this strange combination of new technology, being like the iPods, MP3 players, merging with new media, which was social media, which birthed a lot of new rappers because you had new ways to get your music out. And us as the consumer, we were hungry for new music. And I think this is like another big difference between back then and today. When I was coming up, we was hungry for new music. We would literally search blogs, scroll down the blogs, willing to listen to anything that had a good looking album cover that seemed interesting because we wanted to fill our iPods with music, right? You had these like 64 gigabyte iPods. You want to make the most out of it. You want to put new music on it. So that combined with the blogs and the social media, it was like this perfect thing that created that era, that blog era. And because of it, we got a lot of new rappers. Soundcloud era was similar. You had this new app, SoundCloud, and people were just willing to listen to new music. We were willing to scroll down SoundCloud and press play on stuff we've never heard of. I don't know. So I guess what I'm saying is it's a two-pronged issue, the issue with hip hop today. One is the lack of quality. It's just stuff is just not good. I would say objectively, but I mean, good or bad is subjectively, right? A lot of y'all feel the Chance Star line is like some of the best things you've heard in years. I mean, that's just, you're entitled to feel that way. But I think one of it is quality. And I think the second is the consumer. I don't think the consumer right now demands quality music. So I don't feel the artists feel compelled to make it, right? And how do I want to say this? And I don't know how much editing I'm going to put in this video, if any. So enjoy my monologue. But think of like this, right? Because I think the consumer is an issue in a lot of different mediums that we have. So think of you guys watch hip hop YouTubers. Obviously you're watching my video. Have you ever thought about why do hip hop YouTubers all kind of make this, not myself as included, I'm not like calling anybody out, right? Why do hip hop YouTubers all kind of make videos about the same topics? All about similar topics. Like nothing is too different from the others. And we're all kind of reporting on the same things, right? And again, myself included. Now I do try to mix it up a little bit, throw in some deep breakdowns of songs and albums. But generally I try to stay on what y'all want to hear, what y'all want to see. The reason is, and I'm connecting this back with the music listener, with the music consumer, a lot of YouTubers are making the same types of content because the stats tell us that's what y'all want to see. The stats tell us when we make videos about this person and or this person, or if it's a video negative title, positive title, it lets us know y'all watch more of these videos. Like you click on it more and you watch more of it. If it's a 10-minute video, you're watching more of that video. You're not just clicking off when it's about these topics, right? So as creators, what are we gonna do? We gonna create what y'all wanna see. And I draw the parallel with music in that I don't think the music consumer, at least the youth today, is really demanding quality albums, right? I don't think it's that important. I don't think quality albums is important to people. I think like playlists, and I guess they call it microwave. I don't like using that term because people use it wildly, but it's not like having a great album is not like in demand with Gen Z, I don't think, or Gen Alpha, right? I don't think it's just that important to them. Whereas with us in the blog era, in order to download this music, a lot of the times it was albums. We had to download the whole album. And we had to find and pick songs on our iPod. You remember downloading the album on your iPod or iPod Touch? I always wanted an iPod Touch, but because I had internet and all that, better screen. It's like a modern day iPhone, but iPod Touch back then was good. Well, you remember downloading an album to your iPod or iPod Touch? You listen to the album, but in order to save space, you delete the songs you don't like. Yeah, in order to do that, you had to have listened to the whole album. I mean, people did that, man. So I think it's like a consumer thing too. This is why with me, even if it's an artist that I like, if I don't think the music is up to par, y'all know me. I speak out about it and I try not to sugarcoat it so much, but I'll straight out say, I don't like this song from XYZ. Oh, but Troy, like you like this rapper. You said nice things. I know, but I think this album or this song ain't good, and this is why XYZ. I gotta try to put it out there, because if we try to sit here and pretend like sugarcoat everything, like everything this artist does, we gon' just act like it ain't what it is, act like it's not subpar. Then they're going to continue to drop subpar music. Like you gotta tell the people that if you at a restaurant and the food not good, you got to tell them it's not good. It reminded me of, when I went to Indianapolis. I went to Indianapolis a couple weeks ago. And me and my girl, we was eating at this restaurant. It was called Beholder. Beholder. And we ordered the beef tendons. And as I'm eating it, I'm like, yeah, I don't like how this feels in my mouth. Pause. I don't like, it felt like gelatinous. It felt like gelatin, but like kind of tough. I was like, I don't like this. Now my girl, she not the type that like to return food. She would just be like, all right, it's okay, I'll eat it, or we'll just put it to the side. And I said, no. If we don't tell them that the beef tendons ain't good, what if a lot of other people feel like this, but everybody's afraid to say something? If we don't tell them, they'll never know. And you know what happened when we returned them beef tendons? The waiter was like, oh yeah, I don't like them either. And then the waiter who brought out our new appetizer, he was like, yeah, nobody really likes those. It's like, yeah, so take them off the menu. We got to do this with rappers, man, with music. And lastly, the last point I want to get to, and I hope y'all appreciating this unedited video as I take a sip of water. The last point I want to get to is, whose fault is it if hip hop dies this generation? Which I don't think it'll die. It's kind of a loaded question, right? But a lot of people will look at me and be like, yo, Troy, you need to report on these new rappers. Why? Why do I need to report on them? You need to listen to Soulfago and Destroy Lonely, which I have listened to Destroy Lonely on my channel before. But why? That's like telling, who's like an old head hip hop YouTuber, a Dead in Hip Hop. Shout out Dead in Hip Hop. That's like telling Dead in Hip Hop they need to listen to Tisor Korean. They need to listen to that. Why? If they want to make their channel and talk about music that's relevant to them, music from their era, and they want to, break down those songs and, reminisce on that, that's them. It's up to the newer generation, Gen Z, Gen Alpha. It's up to y'all to create the content about your favorite rappers, just like I'm doing with mine, just like, a lot of people are doing with theirs. But people look, I don't know. Look, when the ball was in our court, when I was coming up, we produced the blog era, we produced the SoundCloud era. When the ball was in the generation before us, hands, they produced the 80s golden era and the 90s golden era. We did what we were supposed to do, and we still making content on our favorite music. It's up to the younger generation to do that for their creators. The issue is the younger creators, like our streamers, like Aiden Ross, Kai Cenat. And I don't think, like I said earlier, logic all comes back around. I think Kai Cenat, Aiden Ross, Speed, I think they see that, yeah, my generation doesn't really care about like these musical deep dives and stuff like that. Like, it's not really relevant to them. Do you know what I mean? So they don't do it. So again, it's a consumer thing also, because you have the creators, the Gen Z, Gen Alpha, they have the creators. Hit the mic. If you listen in your headphones, my fault. But they have the creators. It's not like Gen Z and Gen Alpha just doesn't have any creators. They don't have anything. No, they have the creators, and a lot of them are like on top. Ty Lil and all them guys, like they're on top. They're the top streamers. But it's not important to them to create, I guess, the hip hop content in terms of deep dives or album reviews or the stuff that matters to my gen, right? Because the audience ain't gonna react to it. If the audience reacted to it positively, they would do it. You know what I mean? But I just don't think it's important for them. So I think I had this debate with someone, I can't remember who, but they were like, yo, it's up to creators like you, they were talking to me, it's up to creators like you to put these guys on. No, it ain't. It's not up to me. Yo, we did what we were supposed to do during my time. It's up to the younger generation to decide if they want to carry this on. Like we did. We picked up, we had some big shoes to fill. 80s, 1980s rap, talking about LL, Rev Run DMC, Public Enemy, to 90s, Tupac, Big, Nate Dogg, Snoop, Wu-Tang. We had to, when our generation came up, we had to find a quality guys. We went and found the guys we thought were the most quality and rallied behind them and created content and made noise until they got on. And we had huge shoes to fill. So next gen, it's on you. Or you don't have to do it. You could choose. We're not doing that. But that ain't our fault. But we're all one big family, right? So let's not be divisive. So, anyways, yeah, that's all I got for today. Y'all think my hip hop standards are too high? Well, 2025, has it been a good year in hip hop compared to the other years in the 2020s? Yes. It's a lot better than 22 and it's a lot better than 23. But I'm not going to sit here and pretend like this Chance Starline album or the Jid album is like some of the best stuff I heard. The one album that I give it to you that on, the one album I give it to you is this one. That Clips album. The rest of this stuff, it's like even the Alfredo joint. Well, I wasn't a fan of Alfredo 1 either. But even that was kind of like, eh. So yeah, 2025 is good compared to 22, 23. But it ain't like one of the top years in hip hop or anything. And there's like one album that's super noteworthy from this year. But anyways, I said a lot in that video. No editing. It's like my live streams. And I just go off the top. So anyway, that's all I got for today. Let me know y'all thoughts. Are my hip hop standards too high? Should I lower my standards? And whose fault is it if hip hop, I don't think it's gonna die, but if hip hop kind of dips for a good 5-6 years in terms of quality, in terms of commercial, whose fault is that? Is that our fault from yesteryear? Or is that the newer gen's fault? Yo, get behind what you support, man. Because as much as I complain about new rap, or not just new rappers, because, you know, I had some stuff to say about that Freddie Gibbs album, that Alfredo too. But as much as I complain about rappers, I also make a lot of videos on the stuff that I do like the J Electronica Control verse, or mini Kendrick verses, etc., etc. So you gotta rally behind what you like and support it. So anyway, that's all I got for today. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Top5rapwebsite.com. Peace.